Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Got a couple of Glocks on the table here. I've got a Glock 36 and I've got a Glock 30. And this is one of those comparisons of guns where you look at the Glock 36 and you try to wonder what is the problem it's trying to solve. Looking at this angle, it doesn't look a whole lot different than the 30. So why would you pick the 36 versus the 30? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And before I get started on that, this hat here from Big Daddy Unlimited, we've been having a hard time finding various things in stock like everybody else. The panic and the pandemic and the elections and all that have pretty much caused everything to be out of stock. So we've been looking for places to find stuff. And we'd seen Big Daddy Unlimited before on a couple different other channels. We were at a Jeep event this weekend and they had a booth there, so we got talking to them, kind of found out what they're about. So they're not sponsoring us, but we did create an affiliate link with them that if you use the link to sign up, it's 99 cents for the first month and that's like $9.95 after that. But why would you even bother doing that? Well, a couple things. One, they're not searchable by Google, which means everybody and their mother that's searching for stuff won't find what they have. And their prices on most things seem to be 10, 15, maybe even 20% lower than everybody else, or at least close. Now, they're having just as hard a time getting guns as anybody else, but a lot of accessories are available. So you might want to give them a try, especially if you're trying to find things that aren't in stock in all the mainstream stores, because everybody Google searches them and buys them before you get a chance at it. So we can't put the link in the description because it's all scary and stuff like that for YouTube, but will have them on our affiliates page. And it's kind of a short little link. It's LDDY and then the period and then NO/VHHE, and that's our affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything more to go through the affiliate link. It does help the channel if you do. You get the same deal either way. And of course our website is hammerstriker.com. We're not sponsored by them. We're just a customer of them, but I wanted to share with you that one more venue possibly for getting things at a reasonable price. So anyways, this isn't a review of clothing, so let's get rid of this hat and focus on the guns. So I've got two 45 ACPs sitting here on the table. And first thing I'll do is make sure that they're not ready to bite. So, big difference is single stack, double stack. Really, honestly, that's the primary difference. Has an effect on capacity. 6 versus 10 with the extender mag, or 6 versus 9 with the flush mag. These flush mags, by the way, are very hard to get. They do exist. You can buy them, and they're factory mags. They're actual factory Glock mags, but they're very hard to find. The key to it is, with the thinner mag, you can have a thinner slide because it's a single stack and a thinner grip and a lighter gun. So the real claim to fame is a lot of people want to carry 45, but 45 is a big fat round, and a big fat round in a double stack results in a big fat grip and often a big fat slide. So what you've got is kind of a chunky little gun that may be not as comfortable to carry as something that were a little bit smaller. So when I compare these two side by side, they're 6.97 inches long front to back. So they're basically identical in length. And if I put apples to apples with the pinky extender mag in both of them, the Glock 30, right here at the back, is 4.8 inches tall, and the Glock 36 is 4.72 inches tall, so it's a 0.08, roughly a tenth of an inch difference. Height, not a significant difference. Now there is one thing that the 30 can do that the 36 can't. They can actually make it shorter, is the flush mag. I'll flip them around so you can see the difference. Flush mag actually makes it noticeably shorter. Now, does that even make a huge difference? Not really, but when I look at when you're trying to get the grip shorter, that flush mag can kind of come in handy. Where is the real difference? It's thickness. And you can, without even throwing numbers at you, you can just see it just looking at it. Look, kind of the fat little grip on the 30 versus kind of a much trimmer grip on the 36, and then the slides. So the thickness of the 30 is 1.38 inches overall versus 1.18 inches on the 36, and the slide is 1.12 inches on the 30 and 1.10 inches on the 36. So the 36's overall width is not a whole lot more than just the slide. So it really is a significantly thinner gun. Now you're giving up capacity. You're going down to 6 from either 9 or 10. So it's 40-50% capacity reduction, actually closer to 40%. But that thickness can make a difference in whether or not you can comfortably put this gun someplace that you're trying to carry it and still get to carry the 45 ACP if that's what you like. And I just realized I probably didn't speak absolutely correctly or really clearly when I was talking about the thickness. The slide is 1.0 inches on the 36 and it's 1.12 inches on the 30. The overall thickness of the grip and everything on the 36 is only slightly bigger than just the slide on the 30. So there is a noticeable thickness difference. There's another metric that is noticeably different, and that's the weight. So with just the stock mags, would be the pinky extender mag in both of them, no ammo. The Glock 30 weighs 26.28 ounces, and the 36 weighs 22.4. That's close enough to a quarter pound to be really a significant noticeable difference in carry. And of course, with less ammo, the overall weight loaded will be lighter, but I tend to like to look at just what's the weight of the gun, because the loaded weight can be fairly predictable depending on how many rounds you put in it. So what's the problem that the 36 is trying to solve? It wants to be thinner, lighter, and smaller, and let somebody possibly carry 45 that likes 45 that just can't stomach the weight or thickness of a full-size 45. The one metric that's not any different is the barrel length. It's 3.78 inches for a barrel in both of them, and they are polygonal rifling just like all the Glocks. So you've got all of the capabilities of the barrel and all the other functionality. Now you'll notice a little bit difference in the finish. This 30 I've had for quite a while. This is a Gen 4, but it's got the frying pan finish. And then the 36 has the more current finish. It's not the Gen 5 finish. In fact, the 36 is only available in a Gen 3, but it's a little bit flatter looking finish. Now there is one thing that most people will notice right away, and that's the back straps. The Glock 30 being a Gen 4 has the replaceable back straps. So it comes with either just the grip as it is, or you can get a medium or a large. And the later revisions of the Gen 4s have been coming also with a beaver tail extension that kind of comes out around the back. So with the Gen 4, you have a lot of flexibility in what the grip is like. Because the 36 is still a Gen 3 and there doesn't seem to be any indication of it going to Gen 4, you don't get the replaceable back straps. This is what it is, and that's the size it comes in, and you kind of get used to it. Now one thing I did notice, the grip on the 30 is a little bit fat. This just seems to fit my hand a little bit better. So I'll pick up the 30, and I can comfortably hold the 30. But the 36 just seems to fit a little bit better. It's a little bit better shaped for ergonomics, and that's one of the things you get with getting it to a single stack. You don't have that additional thickness of the magazine and the ammo that goes with it, and it allows you to get a grip that just kind of fits in there a little bit better. Both of them have available Glock night sights, but the majority of them you're going to find are going to be the typical U-dot. And they're really easy to see. They're bright. Some people hate them. I think it's just because they're plain, but they work. I have no trouble seeing them. There's enough of a gap that you can pick up your target. However, like any Glock, if you don't like the sights, there's hundreds on the market to choose from, True Glows and everything else. And it uses the same sights as any other Glock. So you're not limited to, in this one, having only a narrow selection of sights. If you find sights that'll fit a Glock, they'll fit this. Now, one addition, the 30 has a rail and has for quite a long time. The 36 didn't have a rail. But the latest generation, or the latest, I won't say generation because it's still Gen 3, but the latest revision or version of the 36 is coming with rails. And they have for a little while now. Some of the earlier versions of the same Generation 3, it was just a smooth dust cover, kind of like the Glock 26. So the addition of the rail does kind of open up the ability to use lights and lasers and everything else that was absent on prior revisions or versions of it. And the rail is kind of one of those things that when I did the original review on it, a lot of people were asking, how'd you get one with a rail? At the time, they had just made that transition so that ones that had been sold or manufactured even a few months earlier didn't have the rail. By now, I would imagine that any you find are going to have the rail. They are still making the gun. It's still in production. I don't know now that they're on to Gen 5 and they never Gen 4'd this. I'm not sure it'll ever Gen 4. My thought is it's probably just going to stay a Gen 3 for as long as it stays in existence. As long as there's a market for it, I imagine they'll keep making it. And it did work reliably, worked from round one. Found it just as easy to shoot as the other one. Of course, it gets down to I spent more time behind the Glock 30, so I can more easily work with this right from the get-go. But once I got shooting this 36, I was able to zone it in pretty quick once I got used to the slightly different shape of it. So of course you want to know about the triggers. Has anything changed in the triggers? So let's start with the trigger on the 30, which is the original one. So first let me get rid of these magazines. It makes it a whole lot easier to cycle them and demonstrate triggers. So with the Glock 30, now this gun's got some more miles on it, so it has smoothed out just a hair from that, but you have your typical little bit of take up, short break, nice reset right on the wall, and break again. And it's got your typical Glock kind of defined wall and relatively short break. So if we go to the 36, about the same take up, a little bit more creep to the wall, just a hair, and then a break. There's the reset, you're right on the wall, and then again that short defined wall and break. So the triggers are close enough to each other to not make a difference. And that's one nice thing about Glock. For the most part, except when you get into the really tiny single stacks, the triggers all work the same. So if you're carrying this in an outside the waistband holster, then you move to the 36, or you've got a 17. Obviously the recoil and things are going to be different, but the trigger is going to be the same. From a controllability and comfort standpoint, the 36 is just a hair snappier because it is lighter, but not so that it'd make a difference. And I did find that once I kind of got used to the 36 and zoned in on that grip, I was consistently pulling tighter groups with it. I think either gun is capable from a physical accuracy perspective, that there's probably no difference. But just the ability to grip this more comfortably, I was able to zone in and get some nice tight groups. The groups on the 30 were definitely effective, but the groups on the 36 were a couple through the same hole kind of groups. So if you're looking for something that's kind of comfortable to hold, a little lighter, you're willing to give up that bit of capacity to get a little bit easier to carry gun, then the 36 definitely fits in. If capacity is a significant issue for you, then the 36 with its 6 rounds is going to be inadequate. And that is one probably remaining negative of the 36. You can get the 36 in any capacity you want as long as it's 6. That's it. There are no extended magazines for it. There's no compatibility with other magazines that are made by Glock anyway. Unlike the 30 and most of the other double stack Glocks where you can put the larger Glock magazines in it, any other 45 magazine from a larger Glock 45 will work. Now, the aftermarket may pick up and make magazines available for the 36 in higher capacity. I don't know if they'll do that or not. It's not a super high production gun, so they may not consider it to be worth it. But that is one other limitation. With the 30 and any of the other double stacks, you've got a little bit bigger variety of available magazines. And with the 36, there's your magazine. Beyond that, it is a very nice gun, and I do see a place for it, but it may not be the gun for absolutely everybody. Most likely, if I were wanting to carry 45, I would pick the 36. It's going to kind of bring it into a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner, and still letting me carry 45. As a general rule, I tend to carry 9 and 10 millimeter. It'd actually be nice if there was a 36 size variation of the Glock 29, which is in 10 millimeter. It should have a little bit more capacity than the 45 because the round is smaller. But overall, this is the perfect carry gun. Doesn't make the 30 irrelevant, but it does kind of fill a little bit of a gap. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, check us out on Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, kind of everywhere. And thank you.